that you?
Yeah.
Hi, girlfriend. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. It's so good to hear your beautiful voice. I'm so excited to talk to you. I haven't seen you in ages. We're talking about the song Grateful. Your new song. It is so beautiful, Jewel. It is everything I wanted it to be and more. Talk about why this song, how easy or difficult it was to come up with, and your inspiration.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I released this during sort of the height of quarantine, just because I could obviously tell, like everyone else, that everything was very stressful for people, and I wanted to do what I could to do something that felt good. I wrote this song for me to help myself. I wrote it about a time in my life, a long time ago, actually, when I was homeless when I was 18. And I was having really bad panic attacks at the time. And I started to realize there were only two basic states of being. There was dilated and contracted. And that every single thought, feeling, or action led to one of those two states. And that you couldn't be in two states at once. So joy, gratitude, curiosity, love, generosity all dilated me, made me feel relaxed and open. Fear, worry, anxiety, jealousy, greed all contracted me and made me tight. And so one day I was starting to head into a panic attack, and I wanted to see if I could hack my way out of it. And I decided to try and focus on gratitude. And it was kind of hard because I was homeless, and it was a little hard to think of something I was feeling sorry for myself. But I saw the sun coming through this palm tree where I was at in San Diego on the street corner, and it was beautiful and cast this pattern on me and the ground, and it reminded me of being a girl in Alaska. And I suddenly was just struck by this very profound gratitude that I was alive. And my panic attack didn't happen, which was amazing. It was so empowering. And so it's funny, all these years later, I thought of that and what a good way to combat stress that is. And that's what made me very grateful.
And Jewel, I got to say, because I've interviewed a plethora of self-help people and their books in the last 6 years, and it's amazing how I just feel like the term being grateful and gratitude to get yourself out of a funk it just started to become popular in the last few years. Here, you did this back when you were 18. Where did you have that spiritual wisdom at such a young age?
I didn't want to kill myself for whatever reasons. And that meant I had to figure out, well, now what? I'm in a lot of pain. It's an intolerable amount of pain. So what do I do with it? And it started young for me. I moved out when I was 15 because my dad was alcoholic and abusive. And I knew that statistically kids like me end up repeating that cycle. And I didn't want to be a statistic. And I knew that meant I had to learn what I called an emotional English. My family had this inheritance that was genetic, but there was also an emotional inheritance, this language that got passed on generation to generation. And I knew that meant statistically I should speak that language, which was addiction and abuse and all these things. So I knew I had my work cut out for me, and I did pretty good until I got fired from my job when I was 18 for not having sex with my boss. And I started living in my car, and then my car got stolen, and I started shoplifting and having panic attacks, and I became agoraphobic. And I was in a dressing room one day trying to steal a dress, and I saw my reflection, and I went, I am a statistic. I did not beat the odds. And I remembered this quote by Buddha that said, happiness does not depend on who you are or what you have. It depends on what you think. And so I decided to see if I could turn my life around one thought at a time. And it led me down this path of turning inward. I had read Descartes. He said, I think, therefore I am. And I realized it's I perceive what I think, therefore I am. If I could perceive I was sad, I was something other than sad. I was the observer of it. And that kind of curiosity and introspection just led me down this road that I started just kind of, realizing things, I guess.
I mean, it's really, truly remarkable because it's taken me, to age 40 to wake the hell up and know that I'm not my thoughts. I'm a divine spirit in this human puppet, learning lessons and just trying to improve. I'm talking to Jewel. Her new song is Grateful. It's out now. It is absolutely gorgeous, everyone. It, without a doubt, shifts you into that vibration immediately. Also, the 20th anniversary edition of Pieces of You is available. You guys can get them at JewelJK.com. Can you believe, Jewel? Because, we were at MTV around the same time, 25 freaking years. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. I know. I think so fondly. You were always with me my whole career. We always saw each other. So.
We did. It's sweet though. I'm like, and every time I see you, I'm like, oh, there's Jewel. Because I do feel like when you've experienced a kind of a journey, at the same time, it's like we went to the same high school together, almost.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have a shared experience. You kind of know the crazy ride,
Totally. And how, and the one thing that sticks out for me, I will say, is this moment when you had with your mom and yodeling. And I think I brought it up to you in person too. For some reason, it stuck with me more than anything for some reason. I think I was just so moved by it and the way you guys synced up and sang it so beautifully. Can you remind our audience, in case they're like, Jenny, what the hell are you talking about? Where that stemmed from and why you're so good at it?
Oh, with yodeling?
Yeah.
Thank heavens for yodeling. It's funny, a lot of my career I was opening for punk bands as a solo folk artist, and nobody would listen to me until I yodeled. I never thought yodeling would come in so handy. I learned to yodel when I was young. My dad is Swiss, and I learned when I was 5. He said I was too young to learn, so I went off in secret to stubbornly prove him wrong. And started yodeling as part of the family act, and kept it up.
Oh, I love it. And does your son sing?
He does. He started, I've been doing a lot of fundraisers for the Navajo Nation, and he's been singing as part of those fundraisers, doing Bob Dylan songs. And he plays drums and has a band. It's very sweet.
How old is he now, Jewel?
Yeah, he's 9.
He's 9 and he has a band.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. They're called Mask On, Rock On.
Oh my God, that's adorable. And do they have any of their music up for us to listen to, or you're not yet?
Not yet. No, we're working on his first song. He and I co-wrote a song together about a month ago.
Oh my God, that is so sweet. So you're lucky because you still have him at that age where he, loves his mama. And mine is 18, where he's like, you're embarrassing. Just stop trying to be funny in TV. But I figured they always come back. They'll come back. You know what I mean? But you still have that great time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm enjoying every second of it.
Right? I mean, what is in hindsight, when you look back at your life and career, if someone asked me this question, I'd say nothing because it made me who I am today. But looking back, if you had the chance to relive it, what would you implement on the second time around?
Gosh, that's a good question. A couple things. One, I always thought I had to give 5,000%, and I burnt myself out. So I would tell myself that it's as important to learn how to relax as it is as important to learn how to grind. I had grinding down, but I did not have relaxing down. And then I think spending more time understanding, probably my worth, in intimate relationships, like what happened with my mom and her managing me. I don't think any of that could have happened if I didn't really understand my own value and how to say no. In intimate relationships, that was harder. So that'd probably be the other thing I worked on. But
exactly. You're doing it now and you recognize it now and becoming aware of it. It's just the first step. In terms of the grinding, because I look at my husband too, Donnie, and he reminds me, we both have similar paths of like not growing up with much money at all. So when we are given these opportunities and these routes in life and these jobs come up, you think, oh my God, how could I possibly say no when what they're giving me, what they're offering right now, it took my dad 4 years in a steel mill to make that money. How could I say no? Even this job is kind of, I couldn't either. And do you think, and you can't speak on behalf of everybody, but I just look at me and my husband, is it because the way we were brought up with lack of that we think it might go away? Or is it a work ethic?
Yeah, I think that's I think it's a combination. I think, being raised with nothing always gives you the fear of like, oh my God, I have to take advantage of this. And we're grateful. It's amazing opportunities, and it's ludicrous to say no to them. And I think it's also, for me, self-care. I didn't know how to care for myself. I was never raised in caring places. I wasn't around caring people as a child. So, I didn't know how to care for myself either. I didn't know how to value rest or those types of things.
And do you feel like you've broken the cycle of passing down or adopting what your parents have given you? Were you able to break the cycle emotionally?
Yeah, I think that's been the fun of, creating the kind of exercises that I was able to create over time, was practicable ways to rewire yourself so that, our brains are this little binary computer, and they do get programmed. But if we're not our brain, if our body is a car, our brain isn't the driver, it's the steering wheel. But if you're not present, we're the observer of our thoughts. So you can say the observer's the driver. But if we're not present, we will go on autopilot. And I definitely spent my younger life feeling like I was tied up in the passenger seat, watching myself repeat habits I swore I'd never repeat. But once I learned how to be mindful and put mindfulness, what I called, into motion, have practicable things that I could rewire myself with, that's when it got really fun and empowering, because self-work's hard. Anybody that does self-work knows how hard it is. But when it starts to pay off, you're like, okay, being dysfunctional is hard work too, and there's no payoff. So I might as well invest my time in this.
Oh my God, that's so well said. All those years that I went outward, to find the help and realize the key was going inward. And boy, it was life-changing. And I try to tell people, I'm like, it's literally rainbows on the other side of it if you dare to do the work. It really is. Jewel, I'm so grateful, pun intended, with your new song, but I am so grateful for your beautiful music and for you. And thank you for joining me on the show. I really want everyone listening right now to get the song, because it's one of those songs you guys can put on and your heart is open. It's an open heart vehicle kind of song, and which I love those kinds of songs. You don't even have to work for it. It just happens. And Pieces of You, the 25th anniversary edition, is available. You guys can get them at JewelJK.com. Jewel, will you ever come on The Masked Singer? Maybe, hopefully, maybe someday. I can wish.
Oh, yeah, I probably will. It sounds like a lot of fun.
I would love nothing more. I would probably recognize you immediately, but that's okay. I adore you. I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to continue our journeys together in this lifetime and see what you do next, because I can't wait, and I love you.
Likewise. Yeah, I'm really proud of you and your journey. Nice to talk with you.
Thanks, Jewel. You too. Have a good one. Bye, sweetie. We'll be right back, guys.
All right.